Greetings everyone. This is a quick promo before the video begins. If you're new to the channel and you didn't know it yet, I am actually an author in addition to being a YouTuber, and I have 2 books that you can get on Amazon. Operation Red Dragon: The Kaiju Wars Part 1 and The Occult Mafia. The first is sort of a bizarre, absurdist kaiju anime mashup, and the other is a horror noir story with a hint of a western thrown in there. They're both set in the same universe, and at this point have received mostly positive reviews, so you might want to check them out. I've provided Amazon links for both of them down in the description. They're both available in either paperback or Amazon Kindle, and Operation Red Dragon is also available in audiobook form. So if either of these strike your fancy and you want to support a struggling artist, feel free to go down and check out either one or both of them. Alright, the shameless self-promotion is out of the way, we can get on with the video. Thank you all for your support. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the Omni viewer, and welcome to Non-Moving Pictures, where we examine movie posters as art. Even though I designed this series to examine different kinds of movie posters from throughout cinematic history, I frequently find myself returning to the Godzilla series for material.
That's partly because I know that's what a large chunk of my audience is here for, but mostly because the Godzilla series has produced some great poster art, both from Japan and America. Today, by request of Tarptano, we look at a poster which I'm sure many of you remember fondly.
That's right, it's time to look at the poster for Godzilla 2000.
You mean the American one, right? Because if you ask me, the Japanese one isn't all that interesting.
The American poster is the requested one, yes, but I suppose we can take a look at the Japanese posters as well.
Posters? Plural?
If you count the teaser image, yes.
Let's give the Japanese posters a brief look before we get to the main course. The original teaser poster is a mostly black image that displays a stylized profile of the G-Man's new design. In some ways, it feels reminiscent of the original Jurassic Park poster, albeit with a very different energy to it. Rather than a logo, this shows a menacing silhouette surrounded by a simmering red energy, which is the only thing that makes it visible against the background. But this energy is not just surrounding the profile, it seems to be radiating from it. The image itself even appears to be splitting, barely able to contain the primal fury within. The overall effect is to portray Godzilla as mythical, emphasizing his raw power in a way few other posters have done. The main Japanese poster, though, is far less interesting. It's not bad, mind you, but it's basically just a Photoshop image that doesn't really stand out in any way. It was the dramatic reveal of Godzilla's then brand new design, but that's about it.
But I know what you guys really came here for, so let's get to that American poster.
For many of us, I'm sure seeing this poster was a special event. It was the first Godzilla poster any of us had seen in a movie theater. Okay, the first real Godzilla poster, and in a way you could also call it one of the last great movie posters.
It's actually rather serendipitous that I did the Reptilicus poster before covering the G2K poster, because they're both done in a very similar style.
The American poster is done as a painting rather than a photograph or a logo, and the overall aesthetic and flow is reminiscent of the classic Reynold Brown one-sheets.
Let's take a look at what they have in common and see how Godzilla 2000 put a new spin on these classic elements.
Reynold Brown had a penchant for painting the monsters as much bigger than they actually are in their films, even if they were already huge. Brown also had a penchant for using the environment to help invoke a sense of motion, rather than just have the image look static. Skies were usually painted with warm colors, most commonly yellow, to catch the eye and frame a creature that was most likely comprised of cool colors. And let's not forget the bridges. Reynold Brown loved showing his monsters attacking bridges, since they are visually interesting and provide a good sense of scale to the subject. Most notable of the style, however, is how everything in a Reynold Brown poster somehow points towards the monster, making it the focal point even when it's not centered on the page.
We can see all of those elements, or variations of them, in the Godzilla 2000 poster.
As far as motion goes, the whole thing feels alive. The crashing waves, the firing rockets, the advancing vehicles, and the way in which Godzilla's head and tail are twisting make this feel like an instant from a chaotic scene frozen in time. Scale is also notable as it depicts Godzilla as truly massive. Now yes, Godzilla has always been huge, but this poster shows him as much larger than he is in the film. In fact, G2K actually shrunk him down from the size he had maintained in the Heisei era. Of course, this is not meant to show literal size, but figurative size. Godzilla is the biggest thing in the image because he is the most important thing in it, so he has to be prominent.
Now, obviously the sky isn't yellow in this image, so this is where we see a variation in the style.
Here, the dominant color of the sky is fiery red, but with a noticeable gradient. Just below the midpoint of the image, we have a line of fire that provides our brightest colors, mostly yellow with a little white mixed in. This transitions smoothly into a darker shade of red-orange that extends up to the top of Godzilla's head, and from there transitions into a small sliver of black where the tagline can fit without blocking anything important.
Ah, but there's a little something extra in the background of this poster.
Glaring right back at you is the toothy grin of Orga, making this the only poster to hint at his presence in the film. Orga's face here is not defined by any clear outlines or hard shapes, but is instead given a softer, less defined appearance to make it look like a natural part of the sky, maybe a cloud formation illuminated by the flames. This lends a real menace to Orga, depicting him as a looming threat destined to give Godzilla a run for his money. It also hints at Orga's goal. Anyone who has seen the movie knows that Orga's primary goal is absorbing Godzilla's DNA to become what he deems a perfect life form capable of surviving on Earth, so naturally his focus in the poster is locked onto his target. Finally, the poster manages to hint at Orga's presence without giving away too much, thus maintaining an air of mystery for those who have not seen the movie yet.
Anyway, getting back on track, the warm colors in the background of a Reynolds Brown poster are usually meant to contrast with the cool colors of the monster, and that certainly applies here.
Godzilla appears on the poster in a dark charcoal hue. This is kind of ironic because Godzilla is usually portrayed as green in posters when he's really dark gray, but G2K finally depicted him as green and now he's gray on the poster. Then again, this was probably done to further separate him from the backdrop. On a light spectrum, green and red are very similar wavelengths, hence why people who are colorblind can't tell them apart. By making Godzilla black and gray, this potential problem is eliminated. Plus, it allows his spines to cast their orange glow on his body and add the appearance of three-dimensionality.
Plus, not having a green Godzilla against a red background precludes any potential jokes about Christmas.
Now we need a bridge. Well, duh, that one is obvious. Godzilla is straddling the darn thing. The design appears to be based on the Brooklyn Bridge, which would be recognizable to American audiences despite not being in the movie.
Ah, but the Brooklyn Bridge is in the 1998 movie, and I can't help but wonder if that was a deliberate reference.
You may recall that Gino met his end on the Brooklyn Bridge by getting tangled up in it so the jets could blast him. By having the original Godzilla not only attacking the bridge but looming large over it, the poster is promising that such nonsense won't happen in this movie. If that was the reason for including it. I'm just guessing about intention here.
We've checked off everything on the list so far. The last element is that everything in the poster somehow points towards the monster, and the Godzilla 2000 poster has that in spades.
Every vehicle in the image, whether it's in the air or on the water, is pointed at Godzilla, as are the rockets being fired at him. The bridge points towards him, and the burning cityscape in the background frames him nicely. Godzilla's heat ray naturally creates a line to his head. Heck, even Orga's facial features are angled in such a way that they point towards the G-Man. The colors also lend themselves to this purpose. Since Godzilla is the darkest object in the image, he becomes a kind of negative space on his own, and this makes him stand out amongst all the colors around him. Pretty much everything about this image ensures that your eye is always drawn back to Godzilla. Of course, you could argue that it did not need to be done to this level, since Godzilla is already centered on the image as opposed to the off-center Reptilicus.
Perhaps, but this isn't just about composition.
This image really drives home the fact that Godzilla is the focus, and that was an especially big deal when the movie was first released in theaters. The last impression American audiences had of Godzilla at the time was the 1998 film, which hardly anyone liked, fan or not. The Godzilla 2000 poster isn't just drawing attention to Godzilla, but drawing attention to the original Godzilla. This is a declaration right here, an assertion of authority. This is the true Godzilla, and you can't stop him as easily as the last guy.
And it all comes together beautifully. You know, Even though I've been comparing it to the posters of yesteryear, I don't want you to think that I'm saying the Godzilla 2000 poster is unoriginal or derivative.
If anything, this is one of the last American movie posters done in that style, and it put its own spin on the aesthetic to make it stand out from the rest. Its commitment to traditional imagery is in line with the film itself, which is also a return to tradition for the Godzilla series in many ways, but you can watch my other review for the details. It matches its movie, and it makes for a great image on its own. In short, it's no wonder so many fans love this one.
There's more than just nostalgia here. The American Godzilla 2000 poster has real artistry to it. I consider it one of the last great theatrical one-sheets. And personally, I'd love to see that style make a comeback. If it doesn't though, we still have this to hang on our walls. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni viewer signing off. Next time, we go where no episode of Non-Moving Pictures has gone before.
If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Like and subscribe, then go down to the description to find links to follow us on DeviantArt, Patreon, and Twitter. While you're there, you'll also find the Amazon links for the original novels Operation Red Dragon, The Kaiju Wars Part 1, and The Occult Mafia. 2 books I think you'll really enjoy. Thank you all, and we appreciate your support.